Letting number 8593, Chiller 2 replacement. East Climate Control at Lambert St. Louis International Airport. We have 2 bids. Airmasters Corporation, AIRMASTERS Corporation, $2,443,244,000.00. Mechanical Solutions, Inc., $2,006,550. 2006550.00. With the low bidder, please meet with Ms. Ben in the hallway. Thank you.
Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie is not present. Director Rundy?
Here.
Director Hayes?
Here.
Director Roth is excused. Director Moore?
Here.
Director Gray?
Here.
And President Bradley.
Here, we have a quorum. I'll call the meeting order.
From the President, preliminary approval for letting number 8592, improvements to Tilly's Park. Standard specification, bid items, and standard details for street and alley constructions. Recommend approval. From the President, Director of Public Utilities, Streets and Parks, Recreation and Forestry. St. Louis Development Corporation to construct with underground storage cavern within city right-of-way, Riverview Drive, Riverview Boulevard, and Chain of Rocks Drive right-of-way for city water conduits, Moline Creek, and within right-of-way of dedicated unimproved road. Recommends approval subject to certain conditions. From the Director of Public Utilities and Streets, joint recommendation that the following permits be approved subject to certain conditions as follows. Charter Communications to dig a shallow hole of 2 feet by 2 feet by 4 feet and insert 4-inch bore head going from pole at rear of 2704 Hereford in the alley, boring north, bound toward Magnolia, coming upturn, heading west, re-enter shallow hole of 2 feet by 2 feet by 4 feet going west to Hereford Street. Charter Communications, relocate overhead charter lines in alley of 4244 East St. Louis Avenue, starting at utility pole number 102847 along utility easement ending at 4200 East St. Louis Avenue, pole number 102848. Charter Communication, relocate underground along same path, bore along pole lines in the alley of 4922 Palm Street, where Charter is proposing to place coax underground between 4922 Palm Street to 4908 Palm Street, and to place a pedestrian at base of pole B at the rear of 4914 Palm Street. Charter Communication, relocate underground along same path where an open trench is being proposed to be performed from 2722 Sheridan Avenue to 2700 Sheridan Avenue. Asphalt cutting, backfilling will be done once cables are placed in trench. Geodrill Inc. to install 4 soil boring in the right-of-way, sidewalk, and 1 temporary 1-inch soil boring piezometer at approximately 20 feet at 3711 through 3815 Market. The borings will be abandoned with bentonite chips and sealed with concrete. Recommends approval subject to certain conditions. From the Director of Public Utilities and Public Safety, joint recommendation that permit for Botanical Heights Home LLC to re-subdivide land at 4172, 4174, and 4176 Blaine and City Block 4970 be approved subject to certain conditions. From the Director of Streets, Recommendation that SBM Holding LLC doing business as Shelley's in Soulard to encroach with Sidewalk Cafe, 4 tables and 16 chairs with liquor at 2001 through 2003 Menard be approved subject to certain conditions. From the Director of Public Safety, recommendation that the following event, special event be approved subject to certain conditions. Morgan American Outlaw Saucer Party, November 12, 2015, at Morgan Ford between Connecticut and 3169 Morgan Ford. Now we have the conditional uses.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Dylan Mosier, zoning plan examiner for the City of St. Louis, representing the building commissioner. Per board order number 766, transmitted here with our recommendations for the following conditional use agenda applications. Approval with conditions is recommended for 8 applications: 2038 Ann Avenue, 5521 Wells, 1903 Ferry, 4031 Shenandoah, 1423 through 25 Hodemont, 3415 H through 17 North 14th Street, 4142 Iowa, 1509 Marcus. I request these recommendations be approved as submitted, and if you have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to take those now.
Any questions on the conditional uses from the board? Seeing none, I'll take a motion, please.
Motion to accept the conditional uses as submitted.
It's been moved and seconded to accept. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie is excused. Director Rundy.
Aye.
Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Roth is excused. Director Moore.
Aye.
Director Gray.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye. Approved. Take a minute to look at our meeting minutes from last week, October 27th, 2015. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, I'll take a motion, please.
Motion to accept minutes as submitted. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie is excused. Director Rundy.
Aye.
Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Roth is excused. Director Moore.
Aye.
Director Gray.
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye. Approved. Today's agenda, are there any comments or questions about the agenda?
I did have one comment, one question, very minor detail, but it's on page 1, President of Public Utilities goes on Maline Creek, later referred to as Malone Creek. Should be Maline Creek again. I'm sure it's pretty obvious, but just for the record. And also, I do have a question. On page 2, the Walter Rodriguez, maybe I've been remiss here. I've seen that come up on the agenda for weeks and weeks. Is there obviously it's tabled, so there's no real status update, but what is the status, I guess, and why it remains on the agenda?
The last status that I had was the city councilor's office was working on that, and we've been advised to hold until further notice. So at this point, I've been advised not to take any action.
And I'll just give a little background too. It was originally, it's an encroachment permit. It was tabled because it went to the Board of Adjustment as well for a variance. And it was denied, and then they appealed it to the circuit court. And that's still pending. So I think, if I'm recalling correctly, this board tabled to, I guess, pending that outcome. But we're checking in and seeing what's going on with that litigation. To my knowledge, nothing has really happened yet. But I will check with the attorney assigned to that case and see what's going on. Because it's been a long time. So.
Yep. Thank you very much, both of you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions on the agenda? Seeing none, I'll take a motion, please.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second, previous row.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. There's a call for use of previous rule. Is there any objection to use of previous rule? Seeing none, the agenda is approved. Motion for adjournment, please.
Move to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.